I shouldn't have said it. That's the truth. When Elena Reynolds asked, "Why won't you look at me?" I could have lied. I could have blamed stress, deadlines, anything safe. Instead, I told her the one thing that could ruin both our lives. Because when I look at you, I forget you're my boss. And the second those words left my mouth, I knew there was no going back. You have to understand something. For 3 months I've been pretending. Pretending I could sit 20 feet away from her glass office and not feel my chest tighten every time she laughs. Pretending I could survive meetings without memorizing the way her voice softens when she's tired. Pretending I wasn't counting how many Thursdays she stayed late. Thursdays. The night she and her husband used to have date night. She's 36, a widow. Still wears his ring on a chain around her neck. I'm 34, divorced 2 years ago, still trying to remember what it feels like to not wake up alone. And somehow in the quiet space between grief and survival we found each other. Or maybe we just recognized the same loneliness. That's what scares me most. Not the HR policies. Not the rumors. Not even losing my job. It's how much I see myself in her. We're standing in her office right now. Friday evening. The sun is sinking behind the city skyline, turning everything gold. She's close enough that I can see the faint shimmer in her green eyes. "Connor," she says again, softer now. "You used to smile at me. You used to stop by just to say good morning. Then one day you just stopped." Her voice breaks. "And it hits me. She thinks she did something wrong. This woman who remembered my sister's surgery, who brought me coffee during late nights, who made this building feel less empty." "You didn't," I whisper. "Then look at me," she says. She takes one step closer, and I realize something terrifying. If I really look at her again, I won't be able to pretend anymore. I looked at her, and it felt like stepping off a cliff. Her eyes were already wet. Not angry, not cold, just hurt. "Tell me the truth," she said. "Please." That word undid me. You don't say please to your employee. You don't say please unless you're afraid of the answer. "I've been avoiding you," I admitted, my voice rough. "Because I don't trust myself around you." Her breath caught. "Don't trust yourself how?" There it was, the edge. The line we weren't supposed to cross. I swallowed. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure she could hear it. "When I look at you, I don't see my boss," I said. "I see the woman who stays late on Thursdays because going home too early still hurts. I see the woman who pretends she's fine when that song came on. In the parking lot last month." Her hand flew to the chain at her neck. "You saw that?" "I see more than I should." Silence filled the space between us, heavy, dangerous. "I've been in love with you for 3 months," I said. There, it was out. Her face went completely still, like I'd pressed pause on the world. "You can't say that," she whispered. Not angry, just terrified. "I know." "You work for me." "I know." "I could lose everything." "I know." The words hung between us like fragile glass. She stepped closer instead of away. That's when I realized she was shaking. "Connor," she said softly, "do you have any idea how hard it's been pretending I don't feel this too?" Everything inside me froze. "Too." The word echoed in my chest. "You feel it?" I asked, almost afraid to breathe. Her eyes met mine, and for a second the VP disappeared. All I saw was Elena, just Elena. "Yes," she whispered, "and that's exactly why this has to stop." My heart dropped, because I knew she meant it, and I didn't know if I was strong enough to let her walk away.
"Stop."
That word hit harder than anything else she'd said, because she didn't look relieved when she said it. She looked wrecked. "Elena." I stepped back first this time. "If you want me to request a transfer, I will. I'll do it tomorrow." Her jaw tightened. "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" She turned away from me, walking toward the window like she needed distance to breathe. The city lights were starting to flicker on below us. "I meant," she said quietly, "we stop pretending this is harmless." That landed somewhere deep, because it wasn't harmless. Not the way her voice softened when she said my name. Not the way I memorized the curve of her smile during meetings. Not the way my entire body reacted when she stood too close. "This isn't a crush," she continued. "It's not some office fantasy. It's real. And that's the problem." I moved closer again, slower this time. "Why is real the problem?" She laughed softly, but it broke halfway through. "Because real means risk. Real means I could lose the career I rebuilt from nothing. Real means you could lose everything you've worked for. Real means I could lose you." That last part surprised us both. She hadn't meant to say it. I saw it in her face. "You're already thinking about losing me?" I asked. Her eyes lifted to mine. "I lose people I love," she said. "That's what I do." There it was, the fear under everything. Not policy, not gossip, not HR, grief. Marcus wasn't just her past. He was the proof that love ends in devastation. I stepped closer until we were only inches apart. You didn't lose him because you loved him, I said softly. You lost him because life is cruel. Tears spilled over her lashes. And what if loving you ends the same way? She whispered. I didn't have an answer. Because that's the part no one talks about. Love is never safe. And for the first time since my divorce, I realized something terrifying. I was willing to risk it anyway. Her words should have ended it. They should have shut this down clean and professional. But instead she was still standing too close. Still looking at me like walking away would hurt more than staying. I go home every night, she said quietly. And I replay every conversation we've had. My chest tightened. I tell myself I imagined it. The way you look at me, the way your voice changes when it's just us. She let out a shaky breath. And then you stopped looking at me at all. There it was again, that wound I caused trying to protect us. I stopped because it was getting harder, I said. Harder to breathe around you, harder to remember I'm your employee. Her lips trembled, but she didn't look away. You think I don't feel that? She whispered. The office felt smaller, warmer, dangerous. For 5 years, she continued. I've told myself loving Marcus once was enough, that I don't get another chance, that lightning doesn't strike twice. Her fingers tightened around the ring at her throat. And then you started bringing me coffee on Thursdays. I blinked. That was nothing. It wasn't nothing to me. The way she said it, soft, almost ashamed, made something ache inside my ribs. I felt seen, she admitted. Not as the widow. Not as the VP, just as a woman. God. I stepped closer without meaning to. Elena, I said gently, you deserve to feel that. Her eyes searched mine like she was looking for permission to want it. But if we do this, she said, doubt creeping in, we risk everything. Your job, my reputation, the respect I've fought for. I know. And what if I panic? She added suddenly, what if I wake up one day and grief swallows me again? What if I hurt you? That was the real fear. Not policy, not gossip, loss. I'm already risking my heart standing here, I said. So are you. Her breath hitched. And for a moment, just one, I thought she might kiss me. Instead, her phone buzzed loudly on her desk. We both jumped. She looked at the screen, and all the color drained from her face. It's Jenna, she said. My stomach dropped. Why do I feel like this isn't good, I asked. She answered the call, put it on speaker, and the first words out of Jenna's mouth made my blood run cold. HR got a complaint about you two. An anonymous complaint, Jenna said, her voice tight. It says there's an inappropriate relationship between a VP and her direct report. My ears started ringing. Inappropriate. We hadn't even touched. Elena straightened automatically. VP mode, controlled calm. What exactly was reported? She asked. That you two act different around each other. That Connor can't look at you in meetings. That you get flustered when he speaks. That the tension is obvious. My chest burned. 3 months of trying to hide it, and somehow everyone saw. It doesn't matter whether anything happened, Jenna continued. Perception is everything. HR's starting interviews Monday. Elena's hand found the edge of her desk. I could see the tremor she was fighting. What are the consequences? She asked. Silence on the other end. At minimum, one of you gets transferred, Jenna said. More likely, Connor gets let go. Your senior leadership. He's replaceable. Replaceable. That word hit harder than it should have. I understand, Elena said quietly. After she hung up, the room felt smaller, like the walls had leaned in to listen. This is my fault, I said immediately. I should have kept my distance. I should have shut this down. Don't, she snapped. Not angry, fierce. She walked around the desk and stood in front of me. I am not going to pretend this is something shameful, she said. We didn't manipulate anyone. We didn't abuse power. We felt something. Her voice softened. And I'm tired of living like feelings are crimes. God, the strength in her scared me almost as much as losing her. You could lose your reputation, I said. Everything you built after Marcus. She looked at me then, not as my boss, as a woman deciding whether to live or hide. I already lost my life once, she whispered. I will not lose it again because I'm afraid. I didn't know whether to feel hope or panic, because loving her suddenly wasn't just risky, it was going to war. And Monday was coming. I'm going to HR first, she said. The certainty in her voice made my pulse spike. Elena? No, she cut in softer this time. If there's going to be a narrative, we control it. We tell the truth. We disclose feelings. We request a department change. You'd step down, I asked. A flicker of doubt crossed her face. That was the first crack. I don't know what it will cost yet, she admitted. But I know I'm done pretending. My chest tightened. This wasn't just about us anymore. This was about her rebuilding a life after losing Marcus. And I was asking her to risk it again. What if they don't approve a transfer? I said. What if they just cut me? The word hung there. Cut. Disposable? She stepped closer, close enough that I could feel her breath. You are not expendable, she said firmly. That's not how corporate works. That's not how I see you. There it was again. That spark. Not loud, not reckless, just steady. I don't want you sacrificing your career for me, I said. I've only been back to feeling like myself for a few months. I don't want to ruin that for you. Her eyes softened. You didn't ruin anything, she whispered. You reminded me I was still alive. God, the vulnerability in that almost undid me. But then doubt crept in. What if this is just grief talking? I asked quietly. What if I'm just the first man who made you laugh in 5 years? Her expression shifted. Not hurt, honest. I've asked myself that every night, she admitted. And every night the answer is the same. She reached for my hand, not as my boss, not as a widow, just Elena. It's not grief, she said. It's you. Before I could respond, the office door handle turned. We both froze, and when it opened, the last person either of us expected stepped inside. Robert Barrett, the CEO. And he did not look surprised. I thought it was over. 6 years of work gone. Elena's hand slipped from mine so fast it almost hurt. Mr. Barrett, she said, already composed, already stepping back into VP posture. But her eyes betrayed her. He closed the door behind him, quiet, deliberate. I forgot my phone, he said calmly. Heard voices? My throat went dry. How much had he heard? All of it. The confession. The fear. The way she said it's you. I assume, he continued, looking between us. This has something to do with the complaint HR received. So he knew. Of course he knew. Elena straightened. Yes, sir. And I was planning to disclose. My wife died 7 years ago, he interrupted. That wasn't what I expected. The air shifted. He walked toward the window, hands clasped behind his back. Cancer, he said quietly. 32 years together. Elena's posture softened just slightly. I buried myself in this company after she passed. Told myself loving once was enough. His voice wasn't corporate anymore. It was tired. 2 years ago, he continued. I met someone who made me feel alive again. My chest tightened. And I let her go, he said simply. Because it was complicated. Because I was afraid. Because it wasn't convenient. Silence wrapped around us. She moved to Boston last month, he added. Married someone braver. He turned to face us. And there was no anger in his expression. Just regret. I heard you say you're tired of being safe, Ms. Reynolds. Elena didn't deny it. I also heard you, Mr. Hayes, admit you're willing to risk everything. My pulse hammered. So here's what's going to happen, he said. And I braced for impact. You're being promoted, Connor. My brain short-circuited. Effective immediately. Director of Strategic Planning. You'll report directly to me. I stared at him. What? It removes the conflict, he said calmly. No reporting relationship. No violation. Elena inhaled sharply beside me. But, he added, eyes firm now, you disclose this properly. No secrets, no hiding. Do it by the book. Yes, sir, Elena whispered. He paused at the door. Don't waste years like I did. And then he left, leaving us alone, stunned, and suddenly standing on the edge of something entirely new. For a full 10 seconds, neither of us moved. I was still trying to understand the word promoted. Elena was staring at the closed door like it might reopen and take it all back. Did that just happen? She asked finally. I think so, I said, though my voice sounded distant. Unless we're both hallucinating from stress. She let out a shaky laugh. And then she started crying. Not quiet tears, not composed VP tears, full, trembling, can't-breathe tears. I crossed the space between us before I could think. Elena, I whispered. She looked up at me, eyes wide and vulnerable. He didn't fire you. No. They're not transferring you out of state. No. Her fingers fisted in my shirt. You're staying. I'm staying. The relief that hit her body hit mine too, like we'd both been holding our breath for months. But then something else moved through her expression. Fear. This doesn't make it easy, she said. People will talk. They'll say I used my power, that you only got promoted because of me. I don't care what they say. I do, she said softly. Not for me. For you. There it was again, that protective instinct. You built your reputation here, she continued. You deserve to earn every step without anyone questioning it. I will, I said. I'll work twice as hard if I have to. She searched my face like she was looking for cracks. for doubt. Instead, she found something steadier. Are you sure? She asked. Because this is real now. No hiding behind almost. I stepped closer. I've been living behind almost for 2 years, I told her. Almost healed. Almost happy. Almost over my divorce. I touched the chain at her throat gently. And you've been living behind almost too. Her breath trembled. I'm scared, she admitted. So am I. That was the truth. Not fearless, not dramatic. Just two people choosing something uncertain. Slowly, like she was crossing a line she'd drawn herself. Elena reached up and cupped my face. And this time, she didn't hesitate. When she kissed me, it wasn't reckless. It wasn't rushed. It was careful. Like we were both testing whether this was real or just something fragile that might disappear. Her lips were warm, soft, slightly trembling. For a second, I forgot how to breathe. Not because of desire, because of relief. She pulled back first, her forehead resting lightly against mine. Okay, she whispered almost to herself. Okay. That word meant more than yes. It meant I'm choosing this. You can still change your mind, I said quietly. Before Monday. Before HR, before this becomes public. Her eyes opened. No, she said. Not fierce this time, certain, but I need something from you. My chest tightened. Anything. I need you to promise me this isn't about saving me. The words caught me off guard. What? I've survived 5 years alone, she said. I don't need rescuing. I don't need someone to fix my grief. If you're choosing me, choose me because you want me, not because I'm lonely. That hit deep, because part of me had wanted to be the one who healed her. I'm not trying to save you, I said honestly. I'm trying to build something with you. She searched my face again. And if this gets hard? She asked. It will, I said. And if I have days where I miss Marcus so much it feels like I can't breathe? Then I'll sit with you in it. And if people whisper? If your promotion gets questioned? I'll prove them wrong. There was a long pause. Then she nodded. Okay. But just as we started to breathe again, her phone buzzed. A calendar notification. Monday 9 a.m. HR meeting. Reality. She looked at the screen, then back at me. After that meeting, she said quietly, there's no going back to what we were. I held her gaze. I don't want to go back. But deep down, one question still lingered. What if choosing each other meant losing something we didn't even see coming? Monday morning felt like Judgment Day. I barely slept. Every worst-case scenario ran through my head on repeat. Termination letter, whispers in hallways. Elena sitting across from me forced to say this was a mistake. By 8:55 a.m. we were outside the HR conference room. Not touching, not even standing too close. Professional. But the space between us felt charged. She looked calm. Too calm. You don't have to do this, I said quietly one last time. You could say it was a misunderstanding. She turned to me. If I walk in there and lie, she said softly, I go back to surviving. That word again. Surviving. I don't want to survive anymore, she added. I want to live. The door opened. The meeting lasted 45 minutes. Policy questions. Disclosure forms, a formal review of the new reporting structure. Robert Barrett had already submitted the promotion paperwork. HR wasn't warm, but they weren't hostile either. It was clinical, controlled, and when it ended, we were officially compliant, officially transparent, officially allowed. When we stepped back into the hallway, Elena let out a breath she'd been holding for months. That's it, I asked. That's it, she said. But then something unexpected happened. People looked at us. Not with scandal, not with shock. Curious, maybe, but not cruel. Jenna walked past and gave Elena the smallest smile. Supportive. I realized something in that moment. The fear had been louder than the reality. Elena turned to me once we were alone near the elevators. We did it, she whispered. Yeah, I said. We did. She reached for my hand. Not secretly, not hidden, just openly. And for the first time since my marriage ended, I didn't feel like I was replacing anything. I felt like I was beginning again. 6 months later, she said yes. A year after that, we stood in the same office where she once asked why I wouldn't look at her, and this time I didn't look away, because loving her didn't cost me my life. It gave me one. And if she ever asks again why I look at her the way I do, I'll tell her the truth, because now I never want to forget she's mine.